our most favorite people to talk to is Sean Mulroney of the Obesity Revolution. And I have been following his journey, his Lympha Press journey. And then, sometimes you come up against challenges. And boy, Sean, you were challenged with 15 weeks in the hospital.
Yes.
Tell me your perspective on that and where we are today.
Well, it was 4 weeks in the hospital, 11 weeks in rehab. And I was in the hospital 3 times from May to October 7th. And so the first time was an infection. I get all the time, 27 of them. And then, of course, 21 hospitalizations since 2000. And so with that being said, lymphedema, I'm going to tell you what, lymphedema has a mind of its own. It's people and underestimating it. And then the last time I went into the hospital, October 7th, I gained 200 pounds of fluid overnight.
What?
Yes. I went from 558 to 758.
Oh, my friend.
And of course, I was doing great, from 687 down to 558. And then I went in and gained 200 pounds fluid. And then on top, so they started giving me high doses of Lasix. I lost 100 pounds of fluid in less than 5 days.
Oh my goodness. What a toll this is taking on your body.
I know. And then 170 pounds in 2 weeks. And so it was, going, that's there's no other way to say it. But like I said, lymphedema is my Achilles heel. It's my thorn in the flesh, if you will. But let me say this. It is also my greatest blessing too. And reason being because it's made me who I am and given me the understanding and the temperance that, for life. I mean, because I used to think it was a cliche, things happen for us, not to us, Brenda. But I am such a firm believer in that. I mean, I love life. The 15 weeks, think about that. I was away from my wife and 3 girls for 15 weeks, couldn't see them except for FaceTime. Thank God for FaceTime. Well, with that being said, 15 weeks, that long period of time, man, really, it was the best thing for me mentally, physically, and spiritually. I was all by myself, just me and 2 of the greatest therapists, Kate and Jack, my, PT and my OT. They changed my life. They had me do things that I thought I could never do. And I went from no mobility. I mean, this time last year, Brenda, I had full mobility. I was going to the gym twice a week. And then this year, I have physical therapy coming in 2 days a week also. And I'm still getting my mobility back, still have to walk with a walker, but my strength is great. I'm gonna do, whatever it takes. I'm just gonna go for everything that I have to do. And then what's also great is it's given me a greater platform to help other people with lymphedema. And of course, my big thing is having my LymphaPod. I mean, I used it in the hospital. They loved it, because I didn't have to do massage therapy if I had that. And I did it a couple times, a day sometimes, but mainly once. And it's just me having that. I want, there's 30 million people in America that are never come out of their home. And a majority of them, probably half of those people have lymphedema, if not more. And so my thing is I want to get a LymphaPod to every person, 650 million people worldwide. I would love to get a LymphaPod in every single house. Like my friend Dennis, he hasn't been out of his bed in 10 years.
Oh my.
Yes, 10
You know,
years.
and so first of all, we care about you, Sean,
I know.
and your
I know.
well-being.
I know you
And
do.
for us, we've been praying for you, and to see that you are in a much better place physically is so
Yes.
gratifying. But I think it's equally important for people to see that it's not linear. It's almost a roller coaster, and that lymphedema can throw you some curveballs, but you have to manage the curveballs.
Yes.
It's
And the
not,
sinkers. And you get the whole gamut of the pitching game. I mean, you get sliders, you get the sinkers, you get every pitch in the arsenal of a pitcher, you get it. I mean, it doesn't have any respect.
yeah.
It has a mind of its own.
And yet, your mind and your ability to focus your mind on the positive
Yes.
is the intangible yet powerful component that helps you face these challenges and surmount them.
You can't do it without that, Brenda.
Yeah. And that's why your voice is so important, Sean, because people need to hear, yes, we agree. We want everybody who needs a LymphaPod or a Lympha Press of any kind to get one. And we love partnering to get that message out. But that's why your voice is so important, because you have a following, and people that may not have had hope, people that are homebound,
Yes.
can hear your message and say, hey, if he can do it, I can do it.
Exactly. And the great thing, Brenda, there's a lot of people, after I showed some of my videos with my LymphaPod, people were we had to figure out a system. I had them coming to you, and it was like, have them email me. And that's what I had to do. I kept on, get their email, because I just wanted them, to experience what I experienced,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it is an experience. It is an experience physically. And it's just like, if I, had that years ago, it would have, I could have beat the curve of not let it get so out of hand and take over my lymphatic system, because the lymphatic system is vital, especially for our immune system. It makes everything go. I mean, you don't have it, you die. And so it's just incredible the way that, man, no, nobody can do it without the mental aspect. If you don't do that first, I don't care whether you have to lose a lot of weight, you're going to do something with lymphedema, you're fighting it, you will not do and go any further if you don't get your mind in shape, bottom line. And it's a struggle. I mean, I could lie if you want me to, but I'm going to tell you what, the struggle is real. Do I get discouraged? Yes. Do I get down? Yes. Do I feel defeated? Yes. But here's the thing. My mind outshines, and what I'm going through outshines the bad by far. And everybody's looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. Well, guess what? I am the light at the end of the tunnel. We all are. We are our own light if we turn our light on and become the mindset that we say, listen, I don't have to go into darkness if I choose not. Life's a choice. It's also an attitude. I mean, we get bad attitudes, and things happen to us that are out of our control, but how we react to it is in our control. So that was, like I said, it was the greatest time of my life. I mean, I miss, here's what happened, Brenda. I miss my birthday. I miss Halloween. I miss Thanksgiving. I miss Christmas, which my kids are big into Christmas. I mean, it was just, and I miss my daughter's 5th birthday. And let me say that I, think about that. Me thinking about it was much worse than going through it. You say, how can somebody go through that? Well, you don't know until you get there. You know what I'm saying? I tell you what, it was incredible, because on Christmas Day I thought I was going to be down. I was the happiest I have ever been. And part of that too is not just the mindset, but mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Mental illness, everybody has to get that in check too, because we want to get the physical ready, but we don't get the mind, and then we don't get I have mental illness, I have anxiety, and I have obsessive compulsive disorder. And the O is where I'm at. My OCD runs rampant because of all the things that are scattered around me. And I have to really make it a means. And I'm going to tell you what, part of that is having good doctors, having a support system, and having medication, because it's a tool. And when I took that, it changed my life.
What's so powerful about your story, Sean, is you have often said, I want to break the stigma associated with obesity.
Yes.
But you know what? Along with it, the stigma attached to mental challenges. Because you shouldn't be ashamed of where you're at physically, and you shouldn't be ashamed about where you are mentally. The point is, get help for it.
You got to humble yourself,
because you're worth it.
You are. And if that's the thing, is that if you feel that you're not, that's the problem, is we got to find that worth. And that, God doesn't make junk. It's just like, okay, if I'm created in his image, and I believe that, then I love where I'm at. I mean, it's not necessarily easy. My wife's a trooper. I mean, my wife is a warrior, because think about this. She goes through, having to take care, be my caretaker, plus my 3 girls, which they go 90 to nothing. And she just, now it's getting back to some, being normal. And, I'm able to do more for myself. When I first got home, it was a big trial, and she just goes through it. She goes, people think, her and I talked about this a long time ago, is, oftentimes husband and wife says, well, we weren't, you weren't, made for, yeah, we were, we said, yeah, for better, for worse, so we got to take the worse with the better. And not that I expect it out of her. I just know that whenever you have that, to where the encouragement and the support, that drives you too, because you got to have not only the mindset, not only the mental aspect to it, but also the support. You need support, and you need to get rid of the negative people in your life and negative things in your life. If you don't do them, then the obesity revolution, we're not just a weight loss program, we're a lifestyle improvement program. It's like, okay, obese people they deal with hygiene problems. Well, we want to get them help for that. Bathroom problems, everything under the sun problems, and, clothing problems. So what we want to do, getting them right to the help of the mindset, mental health, with people that are, psychiatrists and psychologists, to help them to get a proper the trauma that they faced in their life. So it's a big thing, because food just didn't cause obesity. Food's one part of it. There's so many other things. 90% of obese people have had a traumatic experience, and 5% don't talk about it. So you're looking at about 95% of obese people had abandonment issues, traumatic issues, abuse. All that stuff goes hand in hand.
It's so interesting, Sean. I think I might have told you that when I was a little girl, when I was 5 years old, I was 100 pounds. And I looked back at it, and the stigma. I mean, kids wouldn't play with me.
Yeah.
I was the fat kid in kindergarten. And when I've had to do the work of looking back on what got me there, and I was a month premature. And I could not leave the hospital until I hit 5 pounds.
Right. Oh,
Well,
wow.
there was this survival instinct in me and my parents to feed me, feed me, feed me so that I
Yeah.
can,
Yes.
hit.
Yes.
But then you set up a paradigm that food becomes way more than survival. It
It
becomes,
does. It
yeah.
does.
And that's just my story, and which is a small little piece of it. But if I have a story, how many other people have a story and they haven't connected the dots? And until you connect those dots, you can't really get to what the underlying issue is.
Well, but you think about that, your story, genetics, play a big part. I mean, why is it that a 5-year-old could be 100 pounds? Now that food, right? But how many other 5-year-olds eat terrible foods like you did, but never gained the weight because their metabolism is of a hummingbird?
That is a great point. It is absolutely. And that's why you can't be so hard on yourself.
You can't. And you can't, and by the way, you can't be hard on yourself and you can't make excuses. There's a very good balance on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? We
Yeah.
don't want to be hard on ourselves, but then also, self-loathing is another big thing among obese people. Self-loathing, you gotta start loving yourself. And you know what I found out? What the change was with me is if I didn't love myself at 687, I wouldn't love myself at 187. So it all starts from where you're at to bring you to that point. And the genetics is a big, I mean, now they're coming, there's like this big gap between obesity and how it's treated with the medical industry.
Mm.
And it's like so far to go that what I wanted, my goal was to bridge the gap.
Mm.
That we build that bridge to make it to where we have sole professionals and people that have never done it just to say eat less and move more. Well, if that was the case right now, Brenda, I would have been down 400 pounds since 4 years ago because I lost my first 110 pounds my first year.
I hear you. And we, as you know, work with the lipedema population
Oh,
as
that's
well.
another thing. Yeah, the disease they call fat.
And it is,
It's
some of
painful.
these people become anorexic because they're trying so hard to reduce their body size, and it is not of their own making.
No.
So these are huge issues, and you continue to be a shining light in this obesity revolution. And we're so happy to partner with you. And by the way, if you follow Sean and you are interested in what Lympha Press can do, email me, bviola@lymphapress.com, and let me know your city and state, and I can connect you to your local representative.
Nice.
Is
I
there
love it.
any words that you would want to say? I mean, I want to keep talking to you after I stop recording this, but if you would say anything to the audience watching today, what would it be?
Yes. Remember, life is like a fleeting glimpse. It's short. But the thing is we got to value every moment that we're in, that we got to live in the now, not in the then or not in the when if. We got to live in the now in order to experience the things in life that we need to learn, because it's a learning experience. And I'm telling you what, if we don't listen to reason and the things that are going on, it's gonna take advantage of us. And that's what things that are hard pressed in our life, that whenever they happen, it's how I accept it. And like I said, going back to life is an attitude. It's if I choose to have a bad attitude about it, guess what? it's going to take me down, because you think about it, even in math, a negative times a positive equals a negative.
Mhm.
So guess what? Keep negatives out of your life and get a positive times a positive. And so if I multiply the positives and subtract the negatives, I'm going to have a positive life, period.
You're a great example of that, Sean. Thank you so
Well,
much for
thank
giving
you.
us your time again.
Well, it's an honor as always, Brenda, and thank you for your heart and for your compassion and your passion. So thank you for helping and doing what you do. It's a life changer.
Hey, we're a team. We're
Yes,
stuck
we are.
together. We're
Yes,
stuck
we
together,
are. And
Sean
whether we like it
Mulroney.
or not, no, whether we
I
like it or
like
not.
it. I
Yes.
like it. And I'm so glad that you let me record this
Well, it's an
conversation.
honor. Well, anytime, Brenda, you know that.
You're awesome.